Hello everybody and welcome to MLG TV. Of course, in the third game of this fantastic series between none other than KawaiiRice, spawning as the Red Terran. He's facing off close by air position on Shakuras Plateau against EGDeMusliM. I'm Tumba, and I have the pleasure of co-casting with KawaiiRice.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Tumba. I really do appreciate the very nice intro once again. Had a few nice intros in the previous games, but this one could be deemed even nicer. And yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to what goes on in this game. As I said before in the other two casts, the evolution of TVT in general has been absolutely outstanding, predominantly in the Korean scene, but obviously you've got to imagine that a lot of these players do view that in high regard and learn things from it. So will EGDeMusliM go for that very, very solid style that we've seen him go for time and time again in these past two games, where he doesn't even care about what he's going to be scouting. He'll just crush you with absolute solid play.
Yeah, it's a good point because you did bring that up previously. He was in the dark, and you mentioned it in both games, and I, in fact, did check the vision in both games. And playing in the dark can be tough. You have to be prepared for just about anything that KawaiiRice can throw at you. And KawaiiRice can be quite a handful. So, and let's not forget, KawaiiRice was up in this extended series. All Kawhi had to do was win 2 games, and now EGDeMusliM coming back, taking the first 2 games off of him. So that could play tricks with your mind a little bit there.
Yeah, too true. You always want that psychological advantage going into a best of X series. It doesn't really matter. And KawaiiRice certainly had that, but EGDeMusliM able to pull it back. And, as you were saying before, KawaiiRice, no pushover, going to be going for a refinery first build here. So he could open up with, a plethora of absolute little tricky niggly things, maybe those blue flame hellions, maybe even that banshee with cloak, as you would need that. You need the one refinery if you want to trick out your opponent to think that you're not going for that with a second refinery. And as I say, you need that first refinery pretty early for that. So it looks like, he is going to be taking up to some interesting little play.
Yeah, I kind of feel like the early banshee harass didn't quite pay off for him as much in the last game, just because, I gotta say it again, EGDeMusliM's so solid right now. Just a very solid play. It looks like a different player from the first series. Of course, casted by Day9 and Husky. It looks like a totally different EGDeMusliM here. So I guess he's taken some time. He is known for listening to critique from all of his EG teammates. So maybe they gave him a glimpse into something he was doing in his game, maybe a little leak finder. He had a little leak in his game that they patched up. And you can see now, throwing down that command center, EGDeMusliM just a big fan of expoing so much against KawaiiRice.
Yeah, but I mean, let's not take it away from EGDeMusliM at the same time. If he wants to put pressure on say one base, or right after that command center comes up, he will definitely go for that. And looks like he goes for this 1-1-1 build basically just to take precautions against everything. And it's almost guaranteed he's going to be throwing down that star pot very early, going to be going for that Viking very early in order to be able to shut down any kind of banshee play that may come out from KawaiiRice, as he doesn't go for that scouting so quickly. But blue flame hellions on the way. Got to see if EGDeMusliM's going to be prepared for this.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point, how it almost seems like when you made the reference to the Viking, EGDeMusliM almost a reactionary player. And I dare almost call him a Zergish style player, because he loves to react, counterattack, and expand behind it. Really a tactic we see more successful Zergs doing. So of course, Terran, a lot of great options in their arsenal, and his playstyle in this particular series, I think if he keeps it up, it's just going to further frustrate KawaiiRice. And as you can see, EGDeMusliM getting out a Hellion of his own right now.
Yeah, it's a great point that you bring up about being a reactionary player in EGDeMuslim's shoes here, as the Terran, the way in which Terran is designed allows them to play such a great reactionary style in the form of getting those reactors out, quickly pumping out those Vikings out. You've seen games where, the Terran gets a whiff of Colossus tech in a TVP, and then all of a sudden, bam, 4 Vikings in production on those 2 starports.
Yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, not to get away from TVT, but for just a second, I like to hallucinate a Colossus once in a while, try to get him to overmake Vikings there. Little misdirection, but you're right. Yeah, definitely very good reaction time out of most Terrans. Here we go. Blue Hellions here are going to come knocking at the door of EGDeMusliM. EGDeMuslim's not going to thank him for that. We got trees on fire here. Little intro of things to come, I guess.
Yep, too true. Going to be roasting away those trees, doing a good job taking out as many of those trees as possible. Alas, EGDeMusliM's fortification does hold here. Marines and Hellions, not exactly what you want against a bunker. But, you know, behind this, KawaiiRice is going to be able to try and establish an expo. Wouldn't be surprised if we do see him go for that as quickly as possible, as he does have this Marine at the front of his opponent's base, just spotting everything that is going on. And where is that? There must be a Viking out on the field somewhere. I cannot believe that there isn't one already.
Yeah, there is, actually. If you look just outside the base, actually, of KawaiiRice.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, there you go. You can see the little blue dot on the mini-map, of course, for the viewers. And, you know, I have to mention, I love the decision by KawaiiRice not to push the issue, right? I mean, he saw the bunker and he said, listen, Self, I'm going to say to myself, Self, I need to get out of here, because that's the smart play. I'm going to leave one Marine behind to see when he expands. And it's good use, it's good unit retention, and, of course, you need every, especially in a mirror matchup, every unit possible. You don't want to be at a supply disadvantage. So I like not throwing those away needlessly against that bunker.
Yeah, indeed. Looks like we're going to have a little bit of aggression coming out from KawaiiRice. A lone medevac going to be moving out towards the mineral line of EGDeMusliM here. And I know that EGDeMusliM does not like Blue Flame Hellions when they're used against him. So will this do some damage? This could be tricky.
Could be. It certainly looks susceptible to it right now. I don't think he has anything to deal with this. And here they go. They are going to drop right in that mineral line, as you said, Kalaris. And 4 Blue Flame Hellions right now, doing so much work on these probes, now responding in kind with his own Hellions, trying to mop this up.
Yeah, that was a lot of probe kills right there. 14 workers killed at that point, but this Banshee will eventually clear up this medevac. And it looks like his own Viking was coming in slightly there. But at the same time, there was a lone Marine or two at the front of EGDeMusliM's base trying to get a few pot shots off on this natural. And there was a point I was going to make, and I can't remember what it was. But never mind. As, you know, EGDeMusliM here, you know, he's a bit behind at this point. He needs to put on some pressure in order to be able to equalize the odds.
Yeah, and this is kind of what we've seen out of him in this series thus far, is he'll get almost behind the 8-ball, if you will. In essence, he'll take a big hit, and typically in supply, and then he'll all of a sudden equalize and start to out-macro. The longer the game goes, the more it's in EGDeMusliM's favor. I'd like to see, really, KawaiiRice try to get a bigger advantage and end this much earlier, just because he does not want to let Muslim's macro get out of control like he has.
Yeah, but this could be a bit risky here. Going to be moving up the ramp with a few Hellions. Trying to get good roasts off on these. KawaiiRice doesn't have enough Hellions to be able to deal with this. And now EGDeMusliM is in a pretty good position to do some damage. SCV's pulled off the line, but they get roasted pretty fast. Wow, EGDeMusliM is going to do some great damage.
Yeah, absolutely. As you can see right here in the mineral line now of that natural actually lands a mule to go ahead. I don't know how much that's going to help him out here, but Vikings landed now and moving over toward those Blue Flame Hellions, and actually, I'm sorry, you know what? That was EGDeMusliM that called down that mule to go ahead and repair. Very smart, very good. Okay, so as you can see, as we were just saying, EGDeMusliM, it's almost like two boxers right now trading blows in the center of the ring, right? I mean, and again, EGDeMusliM gets hit first, but look at his counterpunch. We see KawaiiRice supply 51 of 86 to 86 of 86. EGDeMusliM bring up units killed here. Of course, EGDeMusliM, 31 workers killed to the 14 of KawaiiRice.
Ooh, holy moly. And yeah, that's good. It comes back to the fact that if you can keep retention in these Hellions going on into the late stages. I mean, obviously when KawaiiRice went for that assault in the back, that was pretty much a suicide drop. He's going in there to do the damage, but in turn, he's going to lose all those units. Had he had those 4 Hellions at the front during that push, he wouldn't have lost as many workers. So it all comes tit for tat in essence.
Absolutely. You can see Siege Tank now out to try to deal with this, so he's going to try to out-mech EGDeMusliM here, but EGDeMusliM has a tank of his own, 2 tanks of his own coming to join these Hellions. So he's setting up this little contain here, and it would not surprise me if he doesn't try to go ahead and expand behind this when he's got the minerals.
Yeah, indeed. Both players playing a little bit of cat and mouse here. Who's going to move in and who isn't, we'll have to see. But when it comes to... Wow, look at this. EGDeMusliM is so far ahead in terms of supply. 40 supply ahead right now. Taking that third, as you well pointed out. No point in not taking that. You know, if you're ahead, get more ahead. He realizes at this point that he can get this nice solid contain off in the front of his opponent's base. And playing really, really fabulously right now.
Well, do you know how I knew he was going to expand? This is easy. Of course, we didn't watch these replays. Honest, we're casting these live off replay. The way I knew was his macro just hasn't slipped one bit, and I saw his minerals start to stack up a little bit, and I said, well, he's at 200, 300.
So solid.
He's going to expand. And, of course, here we go. A bit of an engagement here now. Trading blows with these Blue Flame Hellions and tanks getting in the mix. I don't know, KawaiiRice. It's getting a little bit dicey here.
Yeah, as I say, KawaiiRice really needs to set up a good siege position here in order to be able to deny this, but EGDeMusliM just has the air dominance, has the ability to be able to push in whenever he wants, well, to a certain degree, of course, and this contain is going to get very, very dicey for KawaiiRice at this point, as, you know, if given the opportunity, he can take the whole map behind this.
I've got to be honest here, it's hard for me not to be biased toward EGDeMusliM. I am a fan. KawaiiRice, I love you like a brother, but look at how good EGDeMusliM is playing right now, really. Just most players, when they get that first mirror line harass, it's a downer for him. It almost seems to kick EGDeMusliM into gear, and he says, right, I'm coming at you now.
Yep, too true. It puts him, as you well said, in a higher gear. He is thinking to himself, wow, well, you killed some of my stuff. Well, actually, I'm just going to come and kill more of your stuff. And to put it into layman terms, and look at this, has this so well contained, even shelling this refinery. And what can KawaiiRice do at this point, apart from maybe go for an air domination? But at that point, the siege tank numbers would just stack up for EGDeMusliM, and he would be in such a bad position.
Yeah, I mean, this is literally, like we said, a different EGDeMusliM from the first series. Here we go, 4 more siege tanks now. His macro is just in overdrive, KawaiiRice.
Yep, doing such a great job here, and I don't see what KawaiiRice can actually do from this point. Viking's going to be landing to avoid those Vikings, but moving out now, trying to take this siege. He doesn't have much, and they get absolutely mopped up. Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is just, it's a sort of my jaws on the floor, because he's literally, for the 3rd game in a row, dismantling KawaiiRice here, methodically.
Yeah, I mean, that natural going down is pretty much, you know, one of the game enders, and GG! Wow. Oh my god.
Holy cow. I can't get over this. Like, there's not much I can critique about EGDeMusliM, and heck, KawaiiRice, what more could he do? He came in, he had the initial harass, right? I mean, he got some worker kills, he got like 14 worker kills, and for a minute there, he put EGDeMusliM on the back foot, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, comes EGDeMusliM. I mean, I don't really know how else to say it, KawaiiRice, but man, here he is. He's won the 3rd game. One more to close out the match.
Yep. So I gotta say, you wrap it up, Tumba, and let's get on to game 4. Jesus Christ, I want to get on with it right now.
Let's do it, man. Let's get to game 4. I'm so excited.
Okey dokes.